सामने काबिल एहतराम बुजुर्गों उलमाए ज़ी वक़ार, अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। First of all, could I request those who are sat towards the back to move forward? The children, the youth, if you have a genuine reason you need to lean, you can lean on the walls on the side. There are chairs available. And if you don't have a genuine reason, then it is the adab of the mahafil, zikr Mustafa, zikr Hussein, that we uphold the adab which have been taught to us by our Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. I would like to congratulate you. मैं मुबारकबाद पेश करना चाहता हूँ आप सबको कि आपने बारहा सुना है, आते हैं वही जिनको सरकार बुलाते हैं। क्योंकि ये महफिल है जिक्र हुसैन की, तो मेरा ईमान ये कहता है कि यकीनन इमाम हुसैन इस महफिल के मेजबान हैं और आप सब उनके मेहमान। लिहाजा आप ऐसे तवज्जो से तशरीफ फरमाएं जैसे उनकी पाक निगाह आपके कल्बों को मुनव्वर कर रही है। दुरूद पाक। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन वल आक़िबतु लिल मुत्तक़ीन वस्सलातु वस्सलामु अलैका या सय्यिदल अंबिया वल मुरसलीन व अला आलिहि तय्यिबीन अत्ताहिरीन व अस्हाबिही अजमाईन। अम्मा बाद फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम। बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। वला तक़ूलू लिमन यक़्तलु फ़ी सबीलिल्लाहि अम्वात बल अहयाउन वलाकिन ला तशऊरून। फ़क़ाल अल्लाहु अज़्ज़ व जल फ़िल क़ुरआनिल मजीद वल फ़ुरक़ानिल हमीद। वक़ाल अल्लाहु अज़्ज़ व जल फ़ी शान हबीबी मुख़बिरन व आमिरा इन्नल्लाहा व मलाइकतहु युसल्लूना अलन नबी या अय्युहल्लज़ीना आमनू सल्लू अलैहि व सल्लिमू तस्लीमा। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला सय्यिदिना व मौलाना मुहम्मदिन व अला आलि सय्यिदिना व मौलाना मुहम्मदिन व बारिक व सल्लिम व सल्लि अलैहि। I am conscious of time, and this discussion of the martyrdom of Sayyidina Hazrat Imam Hussain Ali Maqam, the shahadat of the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the events of Karbala, the events prior, the events after. If we were to have a detailed discussion on this, we would be here for days. And usually, when we discuss something, we need to analyze the importance and analyze the messages. However, inshallah, you have Hazrat Allama Sahibzada Rafiq Chishti Sahib who will shed some light for you in Urdu. But one thing I feel personally is that there has been a lack of discussion about the simple events that occurred in Karbala. And in the short time that we have available, inshallah ta'ala, I will present a few details of the historic events that took place in the Battle of Karbala and in the Shahadas. And in the beginning, we will look a little at the fazail of Sayyidina Ali Maqam Hazrat Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu. We, of course, understand who he is. He is the Nawasa, the son of Hazrat Khatun Jannat Sayyidah Fatima radiallahu anha, the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the son of Mawla Kainat Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahul kareem, the younger brother of Sayyidina Imam Hassan radiallahu anh, and he had sisters, daughters, but his khandan he was from the family of the king of the universes. You know, when we talk about princes and we talk about royalty, we talk about Prince Charles, or we talk about the princes of Arabia and the royal family of Saud. Well, this is the ultimate Shah, the ultimate king, the ultimate Sayyid, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and this is his beloved grandson. One thing about us, Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, alhamdulillah, is that there are those groups that disrespect the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the Ahlul Bayt. There are those that disrespect the wives of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, the Ummahatul Mu'mineen, na'uzubillah. There are those that disrespect the Sahaba Ikram and raise fingers at Sayyidina Siddiq Akbar, Farooq Azam. How dare they? We, the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we are the only Jama'ah that is blessed to have love and respect for all of these people. And our Iman is not complete. Our Iman is not complete. We cannot call ourselves people of Iman or Muslims if we do not hold these beliefs. Hazrat Imam Hussain, when he was born, his mother Khatun Jannat came with him in her arms and ran to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, Mubarak ho, you have been granted a son, a grandson. The Prophet ﷺ said, what have you named him? She replied, Mawla Kainat Hazrat Ali has named him Harb, the fighter, the warrior, the strong, the robust. And Hazrat Hazur ﷺ said, no. You see, all names or most names have been used in the history of the universe. There has been someone or another who has had a name. But there were two names which, prior to this time, the advent of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there were two names which nobody in creation had been given. Two names which had been chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the first of those names was Hassan the older brother, and the second was Hussein. When she brought the baby, the Prophet ﷺ said, no, his name will not be Harb. His name will be Hussein. And then the Prophet ﷺ said about Hussein, that Hussein, Al-Hussein minni wa ana min al-Hussein. He said, I am from Hussein, and Hussein is from me. In other words, the Prophet ﷺ was trying to display the connection between him and his beloved grandson. He said, Hussein is the son of my daughter. He is my son also. That even though he is my grandson, his place, the sanctity of his station is that he has the rutbah and the station of being my son. When he was born, Hazrat Jibreel Ameen came and said, Mubarak ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you have been blessed. Allah sends his Mubarak. And oh, Prophet of Allah, I Jibreel said, my Mubarak at the birth of Hussein. Prophet ﷺ said, Khair Mubarak. And then Jibreel said, but Ya Rasulullah, there is also a news, a khabar. I want to give you news. Allah has asked me to inform you about the battle of the red soil. He presented a jar which had red soil, the soil from Karbala, and he gave it to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, your Hussein will be martyred on the ground where the sand is red, the Maidan of Karbala, he will be martyred. And the Prophet ﷺ heard this news, his heart wrenched, but he accepted and said, this is the will of Allah. Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam accepts this. And then, such was the love that one day the Prophet ﷺ was sat on the minbar giving the Jummah khutbah. The masjid was full, people were sat, he was delivering the khutbah, and two young toddlers, Hassan and Hussein, came in, putting their shoulders on people's hands and weaving their way through the people. You know what the Prophet ﷺ did? This is Shahinshai Kainat, Shahinshai Alam. He got off the minbar. What would you and I do? Shut him up, take him out. No. Rasulullah stood from the minbar, in the middle of the khutbah, went, took those two children, brought them onto the minbar, one on this lap, one on this lap, and said, Sadaqallahu, Allah has said the truth, because children are fitna, Allah is fitna, and there is so much love in my heart for Hassan and Hussein that I cannot describe this. Oh Allah, I love them, and you love those who love them. And he said that about Hussein, the Prophet ﷺ said that he who loves Hussein loves me, and he who holds books, who holds hatred, who holds enemy towards Hussein is an enemy of mine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prevent us and protect us from this books and this bad aqidat about the Ahlul Bayt and about Hazrat Imam Hussein. One day the Prophet ﷺ was sat. He had his beautiful young son, Hazrat Qasim, radiyallahu anhu, his son, on one lap. He was sat, he was playing in Medina al-Munawwara, he was playing, and Hazrat Imam Hussein came running in. He saw that his mum, his uncle, Ibrahim is sat on the lap of Rasulullah. He ran and sat also. And sometimes the Prophet ﷺ would look at Hussein, and sometimes he would look at Ibrahim, and he would thank in his heart the ni'mah from Allah. And then Jibreel came and he said, Ya Rasulullah, ijazat hai, do I have permission to speak? The Prophet said, speak. Said, Allah has given you a choice. Keep Hussein or keep Ibrahim. The Prophet ﷺ, look, can you imagine? You know, this is a sacrifice. If I begin to tell you about the philosophy of sacrifices and how the sacrifices began 5,000 years before that, inshallah, on another day. But he looked, the Prophet ﷺ looked at Ibrahim's face, looked at Hussein's face, and then he picked up Hussein, put him against his chest, and said, Ya Allah, I choose Hussein. A few days later, Ibrahim radiallahu anhu passed from this world. Tears ran from the eyes of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. His heart pounded in his body. But he said, the tears from the eyes and the bosom of the heart, this is from Allah. But the beating of hands and the shouting of the mouth, this is from shaitan. So, oh Allah, you have tested me with this, but I will display sabr. I will not say or do anything against the teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, having sorrow and being hurt in the heart, this is from Allah. Shedding tears, this is from Allah. But beating yourself and shouting, this is from shaitan. We understand where we lie in this. Let me move on. Let me take you to the events of Karbala. Let me take you to the point in history where Yazid, La'natullahu alayhi, became the leader of the Muslims. He was a self-proclaimed Amir al-Mu'mineen. He claimed himself to be the leader of the Muslims. He usurped Khilafat. And you know what the whole issue was with regards to Imam Hussein? Is that he knew that Imam Hussein, being the grandson of the Prophet ﷺ, of being such a, probably the most influential figure on the face of the earth at that time, he needed the support. But what was he after? He was after, in today's language, what we would say, a vote. He was after the vote, the bed of Hazrat Imam Hussein. Hazrat Imam Hussein said no. Yazid sent his messenger to the governor of Medina and said, call Hussein and ask him to do bed on my hands, and if he doesn't, murder him. The governor of Kufa called Hazrat Imam Hussein in the middle of the night, and his companion said, oh Hussein, don't go, he will murder you. He said, I am the son of Ali, I am not scared of death. He left with a few companions and said, you wait outside while I go in and speak to the governor. The governor said, there is a message from Yazid. He's saying, do bed on my hands. Take my hands and give me your vote. He said, oh governor of Medina, Yazid, I will give that dog my vote. He is a womanizer. He is a drunkard. He disrespects the teachings of my Aqā. He disrespects the teachings of the Quran. He is a fasik. He is a fajr. How can I am from the family who did bed on Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I am the son of that Mawla Kainat that did bed on the hands of Abu Bakr Siddiq, on the hands of Farooq Azam, on the hands of Usman Ghani. Those muttaqi parhezgar, those diamonds that shone, their taqwa, they were like the stars in the skies. That the Prophet ﷺ said, Ashabi kan nujum bi'ayhim iqtadaytum iqtadaytum. We did bad on the Sahabi, those Sahabi who were the stars who guide the Ummah. I will not do bad on the hands of this dog, this wretched person who murders, who pillages, who rapes, who drinks. You want me to do bad in the hands of such a person? No. He refused. Then he heard them speaking that murder Hazrat Imam Hussain. Hazrat Imam Hussain pulled out his sword and said, you dare step to the son of Ali? They backed off. His companions came, they fled from there. He rounded up his family in the middle of the night and said, oh, family of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. O daughters of Ali, O sisters of Ali, O my sisters, O my puppies, O my wives, O my daughters, O my sons and brothers. He rounded them all up and said, it is time for us to leave Medina. It is not safe for us to be here. In the middle of the night, they left. They gathered all their belongings and they went to the Bargah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Hazrat Imam Hussain went to the feet of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and said, Nanajan, I have come. That time which you predicted all your life is about to take place. That event in history is about to take place. I have come. Please pray for my sabr. Please look upon my heart and give me strength. We have come to say our farewells. They read Fatiha, they said their farewells. The women were crying, the men were sorrowful, they were serious. They had their few swords, a couple of chainmails, what they had they took with them. Then they turned their faces and went to the Bargah and the Maqam of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, the mother of Hazrat Imam Hussain. Sayyidah Sakina was there. Hazrat Suqaina, the little daughter of Hazrat Imam Hussain. Sayyidah Kulsum, the sister. Sayyidah Zainab, the women, the youth, the children, they were all there, all 62 of them. And they wept at the feet of Hazrat Khatun Jannah. Hazrat Imam Hussain, he said, oh mother, look, you were the one who gave the sword to my father when he went into battle. I am stood here now. There is no one to give me my sword. There is no mother to put her hand on my head and say, oh Hussain, go. Qabr se nidai. The voice came from the qabr and said, oh Hussain, you are the son of Khatun-e-Jannat. You have the sabr of Khatun-e-Jannat. You have the prowess and the shuja'at of Ali. You are the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Even though I am not physically with you, I will be with you every step of the way. Wherever you turn your face, you will see me. They went, they left, and cutting it short and moving forward. They went from here, they went to Makkah. And then there is a whole other story which unfolds there. Again, we don't have time, which was the first shahadats of the event of Karbala. They didn't take place in the battleground of Karbala, but they took place in Kufa. Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil and his two sons were butchered and martyred by Ibn Ziyad in Kufa, by the governor of Yazid, who was leading in Kufa. He butchered them. But when he went, he sent news that, oh Hussein, come, the people of Kufa are here to greet you. 10,000 of them, they begged in my hands, they are here to support you. But little did they know how two-faced these Kufis were. Hazrat Imam Hussain took his household, 62. Hazrat Abdullah bin Amr stood with the reins of his horse and said, Hussain, don't go. He said, oh Jalil Qadr Sahabi, you know my fate. You know that in your life and in the lives of our fathers, Rasulullah always said that Hussain will die at the battle of Karbala. He said, indeed, we know this. Then don't stop me. Don't stop me. Let me go and fulfill my fate. They went on horseback. They went and they left Makkah al-Mukarramah and they went towards what is now Iraq. They went towards those lands and they traveled. And they traveled for days and days and days. And by the way, when they were leaving Medina al-Munawwara, there's one misconception. Hazrat Sayyidah Sughra, who was the daughter of Hazrat Imam Hussain, she was a young lady who was married at the time to Hazrat Imam Hassan Musanna. Hazrat Hassan Musanna was the son of Hazrat Imam Hassan, and Hazrat Sughra was the daughter of Hazrat Imam Hussain. They were husband and wife, and they got ready and said, "We want to leave with you, O Imam." Imam Hussain said, "No." You see? Fear the insight of a mu'min, for he sees with the nur of Allah. And this was the Imam of Hazrat Imam Hussain. He could see the future. He knew that if I take Sughra and Hassan Musanna with me, how will Waspat be born in 500 years' time? He knew that I must preserve the lives of these two people for Ghazi-Azam to be born. So they stayed in Medina. Hazrat Akbar went to his sister Hazrat Sughra, said, "Please send me news when you reach." So they went from Makkah, they travelled towards the battleground, to Maidan of Karbala. They reached and they saw the soil and the sand is red. Hazrat Imam Hussain picked up the sand, he looked at it, he recognized that this is the place where my blood will drop. He instructed it wasn't an army, it was his family of children, of women, and a few young men. He instructed his family, the garden, the Chaman, the Gulistan of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and said, "Camp here, we will stay the night here today." The Ibn Ziyad, who was the governor of Kufa, he sent an army of 4,000 men to look for Hazrat Imam Hussain and his companions. He found them at this place, at the Maidan of Karbala, and they surrounded, and they said, "Oh Hussain, change your mind, do bad. If you do not do bad, we will butcher you, we will kill you, we will kill your family." They were in negotiations and talks, but because Hazrat Imam Hussain would not back down, the negotiations failed. And then Yazid sent instruction to Ibn Ziyad and said, now, this was the 7th of Muharram, and said, cut off their water supplies. Surround them with your army, cut off their water supplies. The family, the few-year-olds, the family, the hearts, the veins, the pumping parts of that spiritual body of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam were in that Maidan. Water was cut off from them. And they were being tortured by the army of Yazid. Who were there? The people like Ali Akbar, Ali Asghar, Abbas, Awna Muhammad, Sukaina, Kulsum, Sheher Banu. They were all there, and many more. Abu Bakr bin Ali, Umar bin Ali, Usman bin Ali, they were all there. And water was being cut. No one was given a drop of water. It was the desert, 50 degrees of heat. And the 6-month-old Ali Asghar was being starved of water. Voices were coming from the tent. Al-Atash, Al-Atash. Water, water, we are dying of thirst. Imam Hussain said, Khabardar, your voice should not leave the parda of the tents. All the women of the household of Rasulullah, veil your voices. You should not be heard by anyone outside of these tents. They said, we are doing sabr, O Imam. We are doing sabr. And then the night came of the 9th of Muharram, between the 9th and the 10th. The family gathered, so now 2-3 days without water. He gathered, Imam Hussain gathered his family and said, tonight we pray, we do nafal, we do zikr, we read Isha, they read Isha. Of course it was the desert, it was dark, they did nafal, zikr, azkar, the women prayed, the children prayed, sometimes they would sleep, sometimes they would pray, sometimes they would worship. And then in the 3rd part of the night, he called his family. He had lit a small candle for light, and he addressed his family, and he said, "Oh family of Rasulullah, oh my family, oh Ahlul Bayt, what is going to happen tomorrow? The events of tomorrow, the universe will tremble. The sun will hide its face behind the clouds. The moon will disappear. The angels will scream. I give you permission that you may leave and not be part of this. I do not want to be responsible for your lives. And so that nobody would feel ashamed, he took out the candle, he blew it out in this complete darkness. And he said, whoever wants to leave can leave in the dark so nobody knows who has left and who has stayed. After a few minutes, he blew the candle, and all 62 of them were still there. Not a single person. They said, "Oh Imam, we are the family of Rasulullah. We have the same blood in our veins that you have. How can we betray you at this hour? We are here, and we will stay with you." The night passed. The time for Fajr was about to begin. The first night came, and Hazrat Imam Hussain sent his son and said, "Oh Ali Akbar, go and check the grounds and the plains and see what it is like." He went to observe, and he saw a woman in a burqa picking stones from the floor. And he came back and he said, "Oh Ali Maqam, oh Imam, the ground is clear. There was no one, but I saw that there was a woman who was in a black robe and a black burqa. Her face was covered and she was picking stones from the floor." Hazrat Imam Hussain screamed and he said, "Oh my son, do you know who that was?" He said, "Father, I have no idea who that was." He said, "That was my mother and your grandmother. She was picking stones from that Maidan of Karbala because she is saying that where my son falls, that place where my grandsons fall, those places I don't want stones to hurt them in their back when they are lying on the floor. She has come in the third part of the night to clear the ground so that we can rest in peace without being hurt by stones." He said, "Oh Ali Akbar, give the azan." Gave the azan for Fajr. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. The azan came in the battle, in the ground of Karbala. They all prayed Fajr, and then they prayed Nafal of Ishraq, and then they got ready. The battle, the army of Ibn Ziyad came forward and said, "Oh Imam, come forward and do your bed." Hazrat Imam Hussain came forward and gave his last khutbah. And he said, they said to Imam Hussain, "Oh Hussain, do bed. Why are you being so belligerent? Why are you being so strict in your position?" They said, "Yazid has the kingdom. He has rulership." He said, "If he has kingdom, his kingdom will perish. Kullu nafsin za'iqatul maut. He will die and his kingdom will perish with him. I have the kingdom of the Akhirah. I will be the king of the youth in Jannah." So my Nana said. They said, "He has wealth and he has strength." He said, "I have the wealth of my lineage. I have the wealth of the blood of Rasulullah. And I have the prowess and the strength and the suja'at of Ali." They said, "He will torture you, he will rip you apart." He said, "I have the sabr of Khatun Jannah. Do you know who I am? I am the son of that Ali who spent all his life in jihad. I am the son of that Khatun Jannah whose parda even the sun keeps. I am that Hussain that when I used to cry in my cradle, Jibreel used to put me to sleep. Recognize me, O dogs of Yazid, because if you raise your hands against me, you will destroy your akibah. I implore you, protect your faith and protect your families. Do not destroy the garden of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam." They said, "No, if you do not do that, we will destroy you." They went, Imam Hussain came back. He instructed his people, his companions, and said, "Come forward." When he gave this khutbah, Hud, who was a commander on the side of Ibn Ziyad, defected and came back to the side of Hazrat Imam Hussain and brought his warriors with him. They began to fight. 2 by 2, the combatants began to come out and fight, and the Yazidis dropped like flies. They were being killed. And then, when many of the family had been martyred, all of Muhammad had been martyred, Abu Bakr bin Ali had been martyred. Usman bin Ali had been martyred. These brothers of Imam Ali Maqam had been martyred. Then came forward Hazrat Abbas radiallahu anhu and said, "Oh my brother, oh Imam, give me permission to go out and fight." He was not a warrior. He was not a fighter. He said, "Oh Abbas, my brother, you are not a fighter. They will cut you to pieces." He said, "I am also the son of Ali. I also have that blood. What face will I show my Nana on the day of judgment when my brothers went into battle and I stayed behind? No, O Imam, give me permission to go." He said, "Fine, take your permission." He put on his Imam Sharif. He took the sword Zulfiqar. He took permission, touched the feet of Hazrat Imam Hussain and said, "Aqa, I will go." He went on his horse. His sisters and his pupils, they came out and said, "Oh Abbas," and little, small, Nanisi, Hazrat Sukaina came and said, "Oh uncle, look at my 6-month-old brother Asghar. He is starving of water for 3 days. It is the heat of the desert. Please bring him some water." Abbas looked and he said, "I promise I will bring water." He went. He didn't go to fight, he went to find water. He went to the banks of the river and he filled up 2 buckets of water and he was carrying them back through the battlefield. The Yazidi dogs saw this, saw him carrying the water back, showered arrows on him. He fell to his knees. Then a Yazidi dog came forward, cut off his left arm and cut off his right arm. His arms fell and he fell to the ground and he said, "Oh Sakina, forgive me, forgive me. I have not been able to fulfill my promise. I was coming to bring water for your 6-month-old baby, my nephew, but I have not succeeded." His ruh left him and Imam Hussain stepped forward. He picked up the body of his brother Abbas. You know, at the beginning of the battle, the beard of Hazrat Imam Hussain had only 1 or 2 white hairs. By this time, the whole beard was white. Within the space of a few hours, he lifted the lasha of Abbas and he walked back to the tents and he said, "Oh Kulsum, oh Shehrbano, oh Zainab, see the lasha of this Jawan." And then Hazrat Ali Akbar, I'll cut it short, Hazrat Ali Akbar came and he said, "Oh Father, give me permission to go." He said, "How can you go? You are the living image of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I can't let you go." He said, "I am also your son. I am also the family of Rasulullah." Eventually he could get permission. He said, "Go to your pupos and your mother." He went to his mother. "Oh Shehrbano, my mother, give me permission." She wept, gave him permission. He went to his and said, "Oh Pupon me. Oh Sayyidah Zainab, give me permission." She gave him permission. He left. He got on his horse and he left. Again, he was martyred. And then he come. The Jawan body of the Jawan's son was carried on the shoulders by Imam Hussain. He brought him back to the tents. The women screamed. The children cried. There was no water. Imam Hussain looked and he said, "Oh Shehrbano, look at your Sartaj. Look at the king of the crown of your forehead, your husband. Look at him for the last time, for I am now going into battle." She screamed and she went to his feet. He said, "Oh my wife." She said to him, "Oh my husband, if I have done anything to transgress your orders, please forgive me." He said, "You have upheld the law of Rasulullah. You have upheld the sanctity of the house of Rasulullah. You have been a true daughter-in-law of Ali. There is nothing to forgive." His sisters came and said, "Oh brother, sisters come out and put their brothers on horses the day they get married. The day they get married, they held their brothers with their sehra onto the horses so that they can go with their barat. Today we have come to help our brother on the horse to go to his final barat. The barat where he will meet and be in union with his Lord. We have come to put you on that horse." He tied his Imam Sharif. He took the sword of his father Zulfiqar. He stepped onto the horse. The women said, make dua. He said, no women, you make dua for me, I am going to battle. They said, no. Oh Hussein, when you go from today, your test will finish. When you are martyred, your imtihan will finish. But our imtihan begins. There is no male left to take us. Who will take us back to Medina? Who will take us back? Who will preserve the sanctity and the respect of the Jadar of Zainab? Who will preserve the sanctity and respect of the Jadar of Sheikh Banu? Who will protect the sanctity and respect of your 6-year-old child, Sukaina? So you pray that your test will finish. Our test is about to begin. They raised their hands. Imam Hussein cried, made dua, and he got on his horse. He got on his horse and his horse would have moved. His horse looked at the sky and said, O Rabbi Kaaba, O Rabb, who gave the tongue to the knife of Ibrahim, give me a tongue. This Imam Hussein spoke to his horse and said, O horse, why do you not listen to my hukum? He said, O Ali Maqam, if you instruct me on your hukum, I will run through rivers of fire. But today, look, your daughter is still crying. Your daughter Sakina, look at her. She was still crying. Said, Baba, what am I going to do when you go? You will go to war. How will I live my life? There will be no Baba for me to instruct me and hold me and support me in every step of my way. What shall I do? He hugged her, kissed her forehead, and said, Oh, Sukaina, you are the granddaughter of. You are the granddaughter of Ali. Have sabr. She said, fine, but oh Baba, before you go, masla tell me one masla. He said, daughter, ask, what is your masla? She said, yateen kisko kehte hain? What is a yateen? His heart pounded in his chest and he said, daughter, you will know in a few moments you will be called yateen. I cut it short. Imam Hussein got on his horse. He went into the dogs of Yazid. A cloud of dust gathered as he darted in and out. The people in the tent saw that he was going in, he was coming out, he was coming in, he was coming out. The people of Yazid and the soldiers were falling like flies. And then all of a sudden, the horse came out empty. There was no one on horseback. A voice came, Sheikh Banu, you have become a widow. Oh Zainab, your brother has gone. Hazrat Imam Ali Maqam, I'll finish on these last words. Hazrat Imam Ali Maqam fell off his horse. 113 arrows pierced him. And then a Yazidi dog stepped forward to try and kill him. He couldn't. He threw his spear. It went by the side of the neck of Hazrat Imam Hussein and a fountain of blood gushed forward. Another dog stepped forward. He threw another spear, hit the forehead of Hazrat Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein fell to his knees. And he looked up. He fell to his knees and then put his head on the floor into sajda. He put his head onto the floor and then the dog of Yazid sat on his back and he said, Sadaqallahu wa sadaqa Rasulullah. Oh Allah, you said truth. And he said, the soldier said, what truth? He said, the Prophet ﷺ told me that he warned me many years ago that I see my family's blood being lapped by a dog of this dunya. And today that dog is on my back, lapping the blood of the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He was absolutely angered. He took out his sword to take the neck. And then these are the last words of Hazrat Imam Hussein. Allahumma wa zambi qaza'ika wa sabran ala bala'ika tasliman li amrika subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la. The last words of Imam Hussein. Oh Allah, I am razi with your will. I have done sabr in the bala and the troubles that you have put forward, but I accept it as your orders. I did not say uff even once. Zakham pe zakham khate ji, khune jigar ke ghoot pi. Ah na kar labon ko si, ye ishq hai. Dil lagi